Welcome to another edition of the live streams. I'm thrilled that you're with us. I enjoy doing these. They're tough. I have to get information. I have to gather information before I come on. So I hope you enjoy it. I hope you get something out of it. Water, the missing link. This is not about evolution. I don't believe in evolution. I believe in a creator, God. Water, the missing link. Now, why would I say that? Because too many of us do not understand that water is such a critical component to our health. Very, very critical. So in what aspect? I drink a little bit of water during the course of the day. I drink when I'm thirsty. I've heard that as long as I eat, vegetables and fruit, I garner enough fluids. The reality of it is that's not necessarily true. So let's just back up a few steps, talk about water, why it's important, why it's the missing link, and we'll just talk to you about the kidney's role here, about the liver's role. And what do I mean by the role? Well, first of all, your kidneys, if you don't drink enough water, your kidneys become overloaded. If your kidneys become overloaded or they have to overwork because they're not being flushed, as opposed to processing a lot of the chemicals, fat that's being processed, and the liver's role becomes somewhat diminished, what it does is it kind of shunts, because these two work together, by the way. They're part of your detox routes and your detox pathways. If the kidney is being overloaded with not enough fluid, not enough water, you will then back up to the liver, and the liver becomes overloaded. One of the liver's roles, one of them, many, is to metabolize fats. So if this role is being diminished or overloaded, I do not have the ability to metabolize fats well. Hence, it's very difficult for me to lose some weight if one simple factor is in place. I don't drink enough water. I'll talk to you at the end about how much you should actually drink. Fluid retention. So many folks battling fluid retention, or what we would call edema. Now, you could have some compromised kidney function or damaged kidney function. That could be the case. But if you don't necessarily have bad kidneys, your kidneys are healthy, your blood work has been good, you need to have adequate fluid intake to diminish excess fluid retention. That doesn't make sense. But when you become dehydrated, what happens is, we'll pretend these are your cells. Okay? These are your cells. And in here is what's called extracellular space. So between your cells, so this becomes tributaries where, in essence, fluids, waters are brought, nutrients are brought to the cells, and then there's an exchange. You're trying to take nutrients, minerals in, and you want to exchange wastes, toxins out of the cell. Well, you don't just put them out into limbo. You put them out into this extracellular space. Now, the body has to be able to pull this off, in essence, and eliminate it. Eventually brought back through the lymphatics, back into the venous system, brought back to the lungs, the heart, back through your kidneys to be excreted in your liver. Well, water, if I'm dehydrated, what you actually do is you retain more fluid in this extracellular space because the body's getting the mechanism or the signals that it doesn't have enough water on board. So by not having enough fluid or water, you actually encourage edema or cellular, if I will call it, technically not cellular, but cellular swelling because of dehydration. So one of the ways to get around edema, as long as you don't have heart failure, kidney failure, let's qualify that, right? You don't do excessive amounts of fluids if you're in heart failure, if you have a heart condition, bad valves, damaged kidneys. But if you're functionally healthy, this conversation is for you. If I seem fluid retentive a lot, I feel puffy all the time, you're probably not drinking enough water. I feel puffy and I've got edema and my ankles swell. You might have some food intolerances, food allergies, but the real core of this, start drinking more water. I'll talk to you at the end about what type and about how much. All right, so dehydration. What you say, well, dehydration, how do I know if I'm dehydrated? Yeah, well, just hold on a few minutes. Remember, we're keeping these tight and pretty clean. Okay, let's just talk quickly about diuretics. A lot of folks that have edema, they go onto water pills, diuretics. Well, you excrete fluids. Your kidneys help you to do that. But with the fluid excretion comes minerals. So diuretics aren't the answer. Drink more water. That helps you to flush the body. Sodium retention. So many folks consume a lot of salt. Now, I think in some ways, for many of us, we've gone the other direction. I would say to you, do not eat a lot of fast food. Do not eat a lot of processed food. You immediately will consume less salt. I don't have a problem with salting food. I think we've gone the other direction for many. So you need to salt your food. But the way, here's the problem. Let me summarize it this way. I eat salt. For some of you, you begin to retain fluids and your blood pressure can go up and so on. And so we immediately lay it at the feet of the salt demon, and it's really salt's fault. The problem is we don't drink enough water, so now the body retains a lot of this salt and water, and then I have more cellular swelling. I become puffy. So the mechanism is not to not do any salt, because you need sodium, by the way. It's to drink more water. More water will help to dilute the solute, dilute the sodium, and you will excrete more efficiently. Let's talk about those that are overweight. Often when we're carrying excess weight, well, let's just say, I'm 190 pounds right now. So let's just say we have a 190 pound versus a 290 pounder. So immediately, if I look at that, I should be doing somewhere in the neighborhood of about 80 ounces of water, kind of half your body weight. A lot of the, I'm getting ahead of myself. Most of the basics are 8 by 8. 8 times or 8 glasses of 8 ounces of water a day. 64, roughly, for the typical average weight, 160, 170, 180 pounds. If you average men, women, at maybe a guy at 200, a woman at 140. 8 by 8. I'm at 190, so I've got to be at about 80 ounces. I drink more than that. These are about 17 ounces. I drink probably 5 or 6 of these at a minimum, plus whatever else I drink in water with my buffered C and so on. Well, what's my point about being overweight? If I am drinking, if I'm 290 pounds and I drink this amount of water, I am going to have a problem with, back to what I said before, I overload the kidneys. I don't metabolize my fat as well. So even if I am watching what I'm eating, don't restrict your fluid intake, because now what you've done is you create a more difficult parameter for your liver and kidneys to process and excrete fats. Hence, most folks that are overweight don't realize, you're there. Or let's even just say you're 250 pounds and you're 5'8". You need more water. Your body mass will dictate that you need more water than what you're seeing here. So you have a larger body mass. So a 120 pounder is not to be consuming the same amount of fluid as a 280 pounder. I think we have that, right? You got that mechanism down? So obesity or being overweight plays a key role. So let's get into why I feel it's the missing link. A number of issues. I've already told you. Edema, fluid, water retention, inability to metabolize fats well. There's a whole plethora. I could do this for an hour, but we've promised to keep these tighter and cleaner. Stick to the basics. Next, muscle function. If I'm dehydrated, I have diminished muscular function. Why? Because I carry minerals to cells. Back to that little extracellular space with the cells in between all this kind of mass of fluid. I have difficulties often with getting mineralization, nutrients, glucose to the cells. Your brain. Do you know that your brain consumes probably most guesstimates, maybe 60 to 70 to 75% of your total energy expenditure, which would be glucose, all right? Sugar, energy. So your brain. So you think about that. This brain consumes the bulk of the energy for my entire system. Crazy. But your brain, especially when you're engaged, and you're going to school, or you are reading, or you're homeschooling your children, or you're doing mental brain work, there's tremendous demand. If I'm dehydrated, here's one of the typical things that happens. Not only do you process your fats better through your liver and take stress off your kidney so the liver can do its work, but now the hunger threshold often is broken because I'm dehydrated. Because if I'm limited in water and fluids, I'm not carrying energy to the brain efficiently. Hence, the brain, the master controller, says, I need food, I need glucose. So often, a hunger pang or a hunger desire being triggered by the brain's desire for more is actually not really hunger, but actually a lack of glucose getting to the brain because I'm dehydrated. I drink coffee, I drink caffeinated beverages, maybe I drink a soda or two. I seldom ever just drink straight water. I had orange juice with breakfast or whatever. You're not drinking enough water. This hunger desire is mistaken. It's actually just an energy depletion in the brain. If I hydrate, I carry more fluid and more energy to the brain. Okay? So legitimately, if you want to lose weight, drink more water for multiple reasons. Water is the missing link. It's one that we take for granted. Folks call me all the time or send emails all the time about, what can I do for this? What can I do for that? For example, I have heartburn. Well, we need to change your diet. We've got live streams on that, by the way. And go to our health concerns section right on the website at AskJoeD.com. And I feel like a huckster when I do that. I'm not a huckster. I feel like I'm selling you, but I got to educate you, tell you where it is, go get the information. Hustling. I'm hustling you. I'm not hustling you. Heartburn. I've got to put you on some form of digestive enzymes. I've got to get you to chew your food well. I need to get you to not drink fluids with your meals. Don't overeat at a meal. Watch certain food triggers. And lastly, you need to hydrate. If I could just get folks drinking more water consistently through the course of the day, we could aid some of their digestive disturbances. Eat more live foods, chew them well, less processed foods, drink more water, you'll make more digestive enzymes. You need hydration. So everything from your digestion to how the energy dictates come from the brain, to muscular function, to how my kidneys and liver metabolize and excrete fats. I mean, this list goes on and on and on. I mean, I don't even know where to start. I just tried to pick, I spent some time this morning just pulling and making notes on the high points, okay? All right, cravings, we talked about that. Skin. Hey, as our skin ages, I take supplements. I talk about how we can do things to try to maintain our skin. Who wants to get old? We're all getting old, but who wants to get old faster than you should? Hydration alone, eating good oils and fats, not eating a lot of sugar, stop smoking, will keep the hydration of your skin. Use buffered vitamin C, use pycnogenol. I mean, there's things that you can do, but if you don't drink enough water, your skin starts to sag. Your skin becomes dehydrated. Okay, so even back down to your skin. All right, lastly, we're getting close to out of time. Key things. You aid your detoxification pathways when you drink more fluids. You aid constipative issues because partly in how the colon it's signaled is because when it draws fluid as stool is being formed and it's supposed to draw fluid into the large intestine, into the colonic tissue, that increases the bulk in that area. That creates pressure and intraanal pressure and encourages an evacuation. If I'm dehydrated, stools are dry, stools are hard, stools are restricted in essence instead of being hydrated with fluids. So whether it's constipation, whether it's cellular detoxification to carry toxins from the cell into this intracellular space and out so that it can be taken up by the lymphatics and moved out of the body, dehydration discourages this, right? And the same is true coming in. I don't get nutrients in as efficiently. So think about a high school athlete playing in a football game. It's September, it's hot, and you see how many of them are cramped up. They try to take them into the locker room, give them IV fluids. The reality of it is the only way, the oral hydration is not going to do it at that point. It can only be intravenous. But what led up to that? Possibly dehydration, not just because of what was happening at that moment and the fluid volume and mineral loss. It's been days before. So you've got to hydrate consistently. It's essential to weight loss. I covered the basics, about 8 by 8s. Then probably, let's say, another 8-ounce glass of water for every 25 pounds of body weight. So if you're 160 pounds, you should be drinking at least 8 ounces of this a day. Purified water, by the way, purified, filtered water. You add another 100 pounds, you're not 160, you're 260, you should be drinking an additional 4 by 8. Another 32 ounces of water, easily. I know a lot of people, if you have a healthcare background, medical background, you're gonna shudder at this. You think this is bizarre. No, it's not. I'm not telling you to drink gallons a day, but I guarantee if you self-analyze, you probably don't drink enough fluids. Water, the missing link. Can it help you? Absolutely. Can it help promote health? Absolutely. Can it improve detoxification? Can it help you to lose weight, take stress off your liver so you metabolize fats? Absolutely. Water, the missing link. Share our thoughts with others. Tell them to come to our Facebook page, come to our live stream page. Turn them on.